Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pinned on Places and another UK walking tour. Today we are in the historic city of Winchester and visiting the Bishop's Palace, otherwise known as Wolvesey Castle. Join us as we explore more about its rich history. The creation of Wolvesey Castle was largely built by Bishop Henry of Blois, built between 1139 and 1171. He constructed the castle to show off his powerful position and immense wealth. When Henry became the Bishop of Winchester in 1129, the residence only consisted of a large hall block that is now known as the West Hall. This was actually built in 1110 by the previous bishop, William Giffard. It wasn't actually a true hall, but a series of private apartments and chambers for the bishop and his entourage, with a raised first floor garden at the west. But until Henry's death around 42 years later, he consistently added new buildings to Wolvesey, starting with another hall block, which was the East Hall, and then he added a defensive keep, a tower, and 2 gatehouses. As we wander through, we'll be walking underneath the foundations of one of those gatehouses, which stood within this southern courtyard. Although many repairs and rebuilds were down to the buildings, it was actually Henry's work that had kept mostly intact for over 500 years. By the 1170s, the palace was surrounded by a beautiful moat and organised around an inner courtyard. Partial excavation of the site has recorded a chapel, several timber structures, a hall, bishop's sleeping chamber, and possibly even a prison dated back in the 10th century. The bishop's palace was the setting for great works of architecture and grand displays of decoration. During the Civil War and the conflict between King Stephen and Empress Matilda, Wolvesey Palace was fortified. Bishop Henry refreshed his palace, erecting 2 large towers. This may have been an attempt to restore his reputation as a leading figure of authority, giving his palace the appearance of a strong castle. And in 1141, a guard-rope turret was built at the southeast corner of the East Hall, and an additional wall was raised at the end of the hall, providing an inner line of defence. Between 1141 and 1154, the guard-rope turret was transformed into a strong, fortified tower that was later known as Wyman's Tower. The East Hall was heightened by a storey, a large square kitchen block, that had the superficial appearance of a castle keep and was built to the east, and a gatehouse was also created. The result was not so much a castle, but as an extravagant residence, suitable for one of the richest and most influential men in England. Within an enclosing wall was a complex of buildings surrounding an impressive great hall, including barns, stables, a wool store and prisons. The hall was where Henry entertained and carried out his administrative duties, and at 27 metres in length, it must have been a truly impressive place. The castle saw many important visitors over the years. In 1403, a great feast was held to celebrate the wedding of Henry IV, and we know from the historical records that the guests dined on rabbit, venison, swan, woodcock, partridge and quail, just before finishing off with their feast of fritters, custards and pears and syrups. All of these delicacies would have been prepared in the castle kitchens, the walls which still stand. In the east of the East Hall is a square roofless building, which from the outside would appear to be a great tower or keep. The walls are in fact very thin, and it seems that the building was always intended to serve as a kitchen. It was probably built by Bishop Henry, and by using the stone from the recently demolished Royal Palace of Winchester, which once stood next to the cathedral. The kitchens were used to prepare the meals required to feed the bishop's household. Next to the kitchen was the serving room, where the final preparations were made to dishes before they were taken through to the East Hall. Linking the east and west halls is Woodman's Gate, one of the two gatehouses that was built by Henry of Blois. Though built to look like a strongly defended entrance with a drawbridge across the moat and arrow loops, it never seemed to have a military function, and after 1376 it was used as the treasury and the treasurer's lodgings. One of Henry's new mod cons was a piped water supply, one of the earliest examples in medieval Britain of a complete water system, with two well houses, a settling tank, an ornamental tank, and a series of troughs and pipes, and a latrine block that emptied into the moat. By the mid-18th century, the bishops preferred to use Farnham Castle in Surrey as their main residence, and Wolvesey was neglected. Although the elaborate palace was largely demolished in 1786, the west wing survived and remains the current bishop's residence. Our visit today at Wolvesey was so interesting to see, and we can't believe that the castle ruins are free to wander and open all year round, especially seeing of how much still remains here. It makes for the perfect day out, and English Heritage have even installed some benches in the area for you to sit and just marvel at the ruins. Why not make a visit to the nearby Winchester Cathedral or explore the 13th century Great Hall with its iconic King Arthur's Round Table? The city of Winchester is steeped in history and has so much to offer when thinking of a day out in the Hampshire area. If you've enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel to help us grow. We are back to exploring Wales next week, and we'll be bringing you a new series of North Wales walking tours and castle ruins. So keep checking back or follow us on our Instagram for some new discoveries. Till next time.